Picture this. You're scrolling through TikTok one day and suddenly your feed is flooded with videos of people using AI to hack their personal growth. From AI generated morning routines to ChatGPT crafted meditation scripts, it seems like everyone is turning to artificial intelligence for self improvement. But here's the question that kept me up. Are we enhancing our personal development journey, or are we outsourcing our inner work to algorithms? From my understanding, personal development is about growth. But because a huge aspect of it is introspection work, shadow work, unlearning, reframing your thought patterns, overall, the need to think critically is a huge part of personal development. So, could the use of AI actually be hindering what personal development is supposed to accomplish? This fascination led me down a rabbit hole about the tool and eventually landed me in a fascinating conversation with a chief of AI at a company. What he shared completely transformed my perspective on how we might be approaching AI. He explained using AI like an analogy that stuck with me. It's like a car. Most of us know how to drive one, but very few know the complex engineering beneath the hood. While we're all starting to use AI tools in our daily lives, there are layers of complexity, from data collection to machine learning, that impacts how we use these tools to shape our personal development journey. I also think the way he described it shows AI is meant to support us as a tool as opposed to being the primary driver of our personal development journey. So in today's episode, we're diving deep into the intersection of AI and personal growth. We'll explore how the use of the technology could either enhance or hinder our journey towards self-discovery. Understanding AI's role in personal development isn't just about staying current. It's about making conscious choices in how we grow and evolve in an increasingly digital world. Before we start, I should probably back up and introduce myself. My name is Leja, but everyone calls me Lay. If you're new here or returning, welcome to A Little Atypical, your cozy corner of the internet where we explore wellness and chatting all things lifestyle. This is the last of our digital wellness mini-series, and I felt this was a fitting topic to close off with before our next month's focus, self-deconstruction. I am excited for this upcoming topic because I feel in terms of the wellness and personal development space, we speak about growth and changing a lot, but I also feel like the times we need to stop and evaluate is equally as important. Something I realized is when we don't stop to evaluate and check in on how we are, life kind of has a way of doing it for us. A lot of times it could feel like a scary thing or an upsetting thing to be in that space. But I hope how I will talk about those things next month will bring you comfort if you are in that space, or if you would just like a new perspective of life. Be sure to follow the podcast, subscribe if you're on YouTube, and let's get into it. So, what is AI and how is it already in the personal development landscape? This bit of segment is because as a bit of a history nerd, I love to know how things begin. So I'm including some articles about AI in the description box, but here's a brief description. Artificial intelligence has come a long way since its conceptual birth in the 1950s. The term was first coined at Dartmouth's conference in 1955, where pioneers like John McCarthy and Marvin Minsky laid the groundwork for AI research. The early vision was ambitious, creating machines that can truly think and learn, replicating the human mind. Over decades, AI evolved through various phases. The 1960s saw the development of early expert systems, while the 1980s brought neural networks into focus. However, it wasn't until the 2010s that AI began to make significant involvement in the personal development and wellness spaces. In the personal development aspect, AI first emerged through simple goal tracking apps and habit formation tools. As technology advanced, these applications became more sophisticated, incorporating machine learning to provide personalized recommendations and adaptive learning paths. Some examples of this include smart journaling apps that analyze emotional patterns and provide insight, meditation and mindfulness platforms that adapt to individual progress, personalized learning systems that adjust to your development pace, AI powered coaching platforms offering customized growth strategies. And at least for me, one way I saw this is like at one point of watching YouTube, a lot of the people I watched were promoting this app. I can't remember the name, but it was basically AI coaching for fitness, and it was just very interesting to me. I even remember one time on the news, they were speaking about the adoption of using AI as a therapist. It was back in 2020, actually, and the topic was discussed by Michael Strahan, Kiki Palmer, and Sarah on Good Morning America. The segment explored how AI chatbots could potentially provide mental health support, though it raised an important questions like trust and limitations about artificial emotional intelligence. I don't know why, but the topic has always stuck with me. And I saw a video from 2024 about recent developments that have shown AI tools being used to help reduce stress and anxiety. So I'll leave both videos in the description box too, but I found it interesting how people are looking at AI for different aspects of life. The integration of AI into personal development represents a significant shift from traditional one size fits all approaches to more personalized, data driven methods. However, this also raises important questions about the balance between technological assistance and authentic personal growth, which we'll explore throughout this discussion. And since I love to start things on a more positive note, we're going to begin with the benefits of AI in personal growth. So, starting off, personalized learning paths that adapt to your special needs and progress. One benefit of AI is that it can adapt to your learning style to make it easier for you to learn. I actually experienced this because I am this year trying to build my skills. So I'm using like this learning platform, and when I first started, it didn't have it, but now it kind of has like coach with it, and it's like engraved in the platform, and you can ask it to summarize the video lecture. You can ask it for real life examples, and it's just a very interesting thing because I swear when I first started, I did not see that engraved in it. So I'm pretty sure it's a new thing for that platform. So in general, when it's incorporated into learning paths and everything like that, it does this by analyzing your interaction patterns, identifying areas where you excel or struggle, and adjusting the content delivery pace and difficulty levels accordingly. This is beneficial, especially because there are many people who get failed by the school system because due to classroom sizes being larger than what can support each individual student's needs, and not to mention in certain areas there is a teacher shortage, which creates a learning gap, and that doesn't even put into consideration underfunded schools, children with learning disabilities, language barriers, etc. I wanted to mention this part first because one of the biggest points of argument is how it ruins academic integrity, which depending on the use, it could. But if we also acknowledge why people may turn to use AI in the first place, and the fact so many school systems feel less about learning, but more about doing what it takes to get good grades. And I'm saying this as someone who still remembers certain behaviors from high school years and remembers the pressure students feel. As much as we as adults like to dismiss students' problems as not being that serious, if we looked at this with a lot less bias and a lot more empathy, maybe we can come up with more solutions that both maintain academic integrity and also provide a landscape for learning to not confine students to one way of learning, of being. Because the truth is, not all teachers can support every different student's learning styles. And because of the lack of attention, because of the shortages, and also other things such as policies that get put into the schools, it's a lot. I'm going to be honest, it's a lot. I can go on and on about this, but I'm going to actually move to the next point. Next is 24/7 availability for support and guidance. This is a major pro because, as we know, humans can't be available all the time. Let's say you are trying to change your life as a professional. One of the best things people say to do is network and also find a mentor, which is true, but that person who is your mentor has other aspects of their lives to think about too. Even if they want to pay it forward and help young professionals break into the industry. So, since you are aware of that, how much life can take a lot out of a person, waiting on those people to help you only slows down your progress. If you have lenient time to fulfill your goals, that's great. But for some of us, we are on a constraint for a reason. AI tools can provide instant feedback and support whenever you need it, making it easier to maintain consistency in your pursuits. Number 3 is data-driven insights into your habits and patterns. This one is mostly speaking about those digital habit trackers or even certain course sites that could help with this because the AI used can analyze your behavior over time to identify trends and patterns you might miss, helping you understand your habits better and make more informed decisions about your personal growth. The last point I wanted to mention was consistent tracking and feedback on your progress. If you are someone who is deep in the personal development space, one of the top practices you know above all else is consistency. We know from last month when we talked about making goals more sustainable that we talked about micro habits and building systems that work. One key element that makes or breaks a system is how awareness is built into it. Like a person can use a journal as a system, but if you aren't used to it, you still need the reminder to do it. We already learned about how technology is so ingrained in our everyday lives that it would make sense to have tools set up on our devices to set us up for success. AI tools can monitor your development journey objectively, providing regular updates on your improvements and areas that need attention, helping you stay accountable to your goals. While I admit this does take out the emotional connection of accountability, it could be great for people who learn more through logic, data, and statistics. Moving on to the potential pitfalls. While these benefits showcase transformative potential of AI in personal development, it's crucial to maintain a balanced perspective. Like any powerful tool, AI comes with its own set of challenges and limitations that we need to be cautious of. First up is over-reliance on technology for solutions that require human insight. Truthfully, this is not a specific AI issue because this could be said about all the other technology uses and developments over the years. Public reaction to new technology are rarely positive because fear of change and the unknown. We can look up how people reacted to the innovation of radio, telephones, television, and still find there were initial concerns. Even though these developments all had the sole purpose of getting information out faster, they were designed to improve communication among people rather than to emulate human intelligence. One of the biggest conversations in media right now is anti-intellectualism. So I first saw this topic floating around initially because of Book Talk. TikTok is one of my more used social media platforms because, ironically, even though I love content creation, I also do not like social media all the time. As mentioned, I know it's essential for pretty much my success as a content creator, and it creates so much opportunity. At the same time, it's also very overwhelming. The feeling I get is if I was to walk in a room with a million people. So much different conversations in one place, and while I could potentially be inspired, it also makes it hard for me to actually think. And if you know anything about book talk, 98% of the time there is always some level of controversy or infighting. So I was interested in anti intellectualism because the word was getting thrown around a lot. From what I found, it is a social attitude that systematically undermines science based facts, academic and institutional authorities, and the pursuit of theory and knowledge. I saw this girl on TikTok made the most interesting statement about how anti intellectualism is the tension between the foundation of belief that we could have personal advancement no matter what, aka the American dream, and the evolution of what beliefs we currently have. It was a really interesting take, but you are probably wondering how over reliance on a tool like AI leads to anti intellectualism. When we depend too heavily on AI for answers and solutions, we risk losing our ability to think critically and engage deeply with complex ideas, essentially contributing to the very anti intellectual attitudes we are discussing. Honestly, I can go on about this topic. This was actually the original idea to end off, but I wanted to have a fair look into AI and didn't just want to give you guys one side of it. So here we are. Moving on to the risk of losing touch with authentic human experiences. When we use AI for personal development, it takes away from the human experience by rushing the process. Personal growth often requires sitting with discomfort and working through challenges at our own pace. By relying too heavily on AI solutions, we might miss out on the valuable lessons and insights that come from navigating difficulties on our own. One of the biggest downfalls of technology in general is that we say that it's to make things more efficient, but I feel like that's code for making things more profitable. It's like we are trying to get everything done faster just so we can fill our time doing more of the things that will never truly fulfill us because we are just going through life without actually conceptualizing what we're supposed to be experiencing. Next point is privacy concerns and data security. I constantly see this one, but since I don't know too much about the reasoning behind this, I don't want to say too much on it until I had adequate research. But I just wanted to bring this point to the conversation. Lastly, the potential for AI to reinforce rather than challenging our existing bias. I remember being in high school first learning about AI. The article we had to read about was about Alexa and how it had racial biases. And it's a key moment in my memory because before that, I don't remember actually thinking about how, since AI is designed by humans, how it could still have biases within its design from its creator, which is why it does have potential to be used dangerously if it has a very limited perspective. Obviously, there probably has been advancement in this area, but it's just something to think about because even science has limited research on the things because there is initial research that was skewed towards specific groups of people. If you are a spiritual person, this concept is similar to why it's dangerous to be closed minded and have limiting beliefs. Without challenging our thoughts, and when we limit ourselves to what we are used to, only limits our potential to do great things. So, moving on, in my opinion, I'm honestly pretty neutral on AI as a whole because, in terms of context, my opinion on the tool could be skewed. I think it could have a place in education as support, but not to use as a tool so you don't have to think. Art, writing, humanity education pursuits should be respected enough to not have people use AI to make those things for them as a quick and easy way to earn profit. Creativity is just as much as a problem solving skill as any other, and using AI is disrespectful to it. It isn't even about trying to make something exclusive, but as a creative, Creativity is meant to be used to express ideas, and when no thought goes into creating, it defeats the purpose. In terms of writing, it's okay to use it to edit your grammar, to look up alternative perspectives to your argument so you can argue against those points, which is fair because we only know what we know, but that doesn't mean there isn't more out there. As for the personal development landscape, it has potential to be a good thing. One of my favorite creators did a video when I was in process of still finishing up this podcast episode idea, and the first thing she told her audience to do is create a day in the life story, which works as a visualization practice, and then asked it to create a schedule to follow so you can get an idea of steps to take and your resources. While I respect that creator so much, I also felt like that point was missing a lot of substance. So I'm going to share what I would do to get the best answers out of using AI if I were to use it to level up my life. Before I would even write anything down, I would reflect on if I'm willing to do everything it takes to level up my life. Here's the thing, since you are using AI not in a way that it can already track your current behaviors, you would need to hold yourself accountable and practice radical self-honesty so you can build out your starter self database. One thing that creator and what many creators don't talk about when they suggest using ChatGPT is your current life still has to be a part of the process. Using ChatGPT without being honest and clear about where you are at in life is like trying to travel to a beautiful destination spot while being lost in the woods. AI is meant to be a compass to get you out of the woods first, so you can be in a better position to get to your desired destination. Once I do that, my starter database would include my current situation, so the good things about it and my stressors about it. I would include things like how I spend my time, my good habits and my bad habits, patterns I notice with myself, like what time I traditionally wake up, what times I typically eat, what are the current responsibilities I have. I would then turn whatever is my current life into a problem statement, like how they use in the design thinking process, so I can kind of separate myself from it so I can look at the bigger picture rather than just pieces. Also, sometimes if we attach ourselves too much within what we are describing, mentally it can make us feel stuck. When we reframe it, it helps us to be able to know we can let go of this version of ourselves. So instead of writing, I am trying to get a role as blank. Say something like a 20-something-year-old woman recently got out of school, and upon spending time in blank role, she would like to make a career change. Her workplace makes her feel blank, and she wants to do something different to change her life. She struggles with time management because this is her schedule throughout the week, and she is struggling to figure out how much time to spend working towards blank. Something like that, obviously, but with your experience and descriptors of yourself without it being you. Language is something very intentional, and when you write about your past self or even your current self, you want to be intentional with how you describe things. So when you write about your dream life, don't just tell it as a story, but break it down into areas of life. The reason is because it's more detail specific. For example, let's say you want a certain job. You can find a job posting to match and then ask AI, what are a list of companies in a specific industry that has this role? What cities have the best opportunities for this role? What skills you need to have? What certifications are sought after? What are some entry positions that can lead to that role? You can even use your current resume to compare the job post to see what your transferable skills are and what skills are on the rise. From there, you can ask it to make an action plan to develop the skills you need, people to talk to get a better idea of your path, etc. However, if you do prefer the feeling route of your perfect life, then also write about your current life and then ask AI, what changes do you need to make in each area of life to achieve getting there? Based on the results, you can ask questions like what jobs align with the lifestyle you want to have, what is the best way to manage your time so I can support both my current self by maintaining my health and honoring my responsibilities while making space for the person I am working on becoming. The most important things to get out of AI when you use it is the list of resources. What type of people do you need to know to make this happen? What are platforms you can use? What are events you can attend? How can you do all you need to do within the budget you have? What is the most important aspect to invest in? What are the moves that lay the foundation for your goals? What do you need to prioritize, and what is the most efficient way to prioritize building your dream life? Overall, in terms of personal development, introspection work couldn't and shouldn't be erased when using AI, because if you simply ask chat how to improve your life without knowing or deciding what ways you want to improve your life, you are setting yourself up to be unfulfilled. This is why I'm so excited for March's topic. And if you made it to the end of this episode, just know words can't describe how much I appreciate it, because of all episodes I've worked on so far, this was definitely one of the more difficult ones, and I hope you'll join me next month to focus on a specific aspect of identity work. So be sure to follow the podcast, subscribe if you're on YouTube, and before I completely close out, I love to end the episode with a card pull for the collective. This is where you click off, have a good day, evening, or night. But if you usually stay till the end and you're a real one, let's start with the card pull. The card we got is Big Picture Thinking, Pleiadian Energy, Visionary, Inspired Ideas. The Pleiadians are our cosmic cousins. They're here to remind us that it's never too late to learn new things and change the future. You're being called to be a visionary for the planet, to take a breath, shake off what you've been taught about the world, and hold a new vision for humanity. You're likely a natural big picture thinker, here to generate ideas for the future. Here to birth a new age and dream a new world into being. The future will be woven by dream makers like you, by those with enough courage to question the way things have been and envision new possibilities for the planet. The world needs more artists, dreamers, inventors, and visionary thinkers. Perhaps you've had an idea recently that you're being called to usher in. If so, this card is your confirmation that it is divinely guided. The Pleiadians support us in this important stage in Earth's development. They want us to know that the decisions we make today will affect the well-being of our planet and all its species. They're calling on you to be a leader of the future, to hold a clear vision of what's possible, to trust that vision and follow it through with daily action, to dream a new world into being, to hold your mind open and try not to worry about what others think. For it takes great courage to pave a new path, to trust a vision before it's a reality. Starseed Soul Inquiry. How are you being called to step up and lead? What new ideas or creations are you being called to pursue? I feel like this card was the perfect way to wrap up the month and mini-series. We started this series during Aquarius season, known for its innovative and forward-thinking energy, and now we are transitioning to the intuitive Pisces season, and we approach the end to the astrological new year. There is no better card suited. Just as the card reminds us to be visionary and question established systems, this perfectly aligns with our discussion on digital wellness and AI. We're being called to think critically about how we integrate technology into our lives, finding that delicate balance between innovation and maintaining our human essence. This card encourages us to be conscious creators of the future, whether that's in how we use AI tools or how we approach our personal development journeys, and just all the ways we contribute to the world. So, now for what I'm grateful for. I am grateful the steps that I have taken to unlearn perfectionism has been slowly a more common practice for me. Throughout planning this episode, which took me weeks in comparison to the first 2 episodes of this month, I was getting frustrated and overwhelmed within the process because it was like I couldn't get clarity on how I wanted to approach the conversation. And it felt like I was leaving so much out, that there was too much information without enough explanation, personality, or emotion, and it wouldn't be good enough. Essentially, I was getting super overwhelmed and frustrated because I was like, I have more I want to create. I have things that I need to do outside of creation for my health and my growth. And maybe if it was a year ago, I would have let those feelings consume me and scrap the entire plan for February, disappear because of my sense of self was disrupted, and then question, what is my purpose for existing? Dramatic, most definitely. But the point is, I grew enough to be able to push past those emotional moments. It's not a tangible thing, but it's something so meaningful because there is nothing like the feeling of experiencing your growth firsthand. So that's it, my friends. You're a real one for making it to the end. Thank you for tuning into today's episode of A Little Atypical. If you found this helpful, don't forget to subscribe and share with someone who might need to hear this message. Remember to view the description box where you can find important links, such as the one to my website where there's more bonus content. Until next time, have a good day, evening, or night, and stay authentically atypical. Okay, bye!